So friends, centering. We take a ball of clay, it's soft and uniform, roll it a bit, gently throw it onto the wheel, and press it down with these parts of our hands, fixing the clay onto the wheel. A common mistake is when you place the clay like this, and you see here, there's a gap, I can stick my fingers in there, and water and air can get in, and as a result, the clay will come off the wheel very easily. That's why we secure it as tightly as possible. Turn on the wheel, use your index finger to seal the contact point between the clay and the wheel, and the ball is ready. Let's speed up a bit and add some water. I suggest starting not by moving upward, but by moving downward. This will help us even out the clay and make it stick to the pottery wheel even better. Add water, place this knuckle in the center, wrap your hands around it, cover it with your other hand, and gently support it here. And start pressing from top to bottom at first, supporting with your fingers, and then move your hand downward. This hand starts like this and ends up like this. From the movement, it goes like this. Press down and lower it. And as you can see, our lump already looks centered. Now all we need to do is add some water and actually start centering. Notice I'm standing here now, nothing has changed. I still have the same bone here that I can lean on and comfortably push with my body the clay away from myself. Let's divide the process of raising the cone into two parts. The first part is called the bulldozer. The bulldozer is when we firmly press our elbow into the body, into the bone or the leg, and we start to shift it. Here we practically don't need this hand. We can move it over here or not use it at all. We push the clay forward and it gets pushed out to about this level. If I keep pushing further, of course my lump will just tear off. That's why I need the second hand. The second stage is called ketchup. Why ketchup? Imagine you're squeezing ketchup out of a bottle. Only there the ketchup comes out downward, but here you need to squeeze the ketchup upward. Look, the right hand. The left hand, fingers placed here, I also push with my body. And here I simply pull the clay toward myself. 50% from here, 50% from there, and the fingers help to squeeze. Just squeeze it like a ketchup bottle, and the clay will be pushed upward. Many people do this kind of movement to try to pull it up, but we know that doesn't work. We squeeze the clay, and the clay pushes itself upward. The first stage is the bulldozer, the second stage is the ketchup. We'll also divide the lowering process into two stages. The first stage will be called the banana. Why banana? Because when I push the clay away from myself, you see it bends. The bend is roughly like the curve of a banana. At the same time, I'm always pushing the clay away from myself. I'm not actually pushing the clay from the top to the bottom. Look, if I press from top to bottom like this, we'll end up with a mushroom shape. I'm pushing the clay away from myself. In that direction. Now please watch carefully as I demonstrate how the direction of my pressure gradually changes during the lowering process. I'll use my finger to show the direction I'm pressing. At first I just push away from myself. Now I'm pushing, the movement goes over there. Over there. See, the angle changes. This line that we get, which is at exactly 90 degrees, that's the direction we're working with. I keep pushing the pressure away from myself, making sure to maintain that angle. Of course, you can help with your other hand here, providing extra support and stability if needed, but for demonstration purposes, I'm just continuing to show the direction with one hand. The next stage we have is called the yurt. Look closely. This is the roof of the yurt, and these are the walls of the yurt, which are very important structural elements. As soon as we've reached the desired height of our disc, which is the point where we want to stop, we stop pushing the clay away from ourselves, we stop pushing it away any further. If I keep pushing away, look, the walls of the yurt will get smaller and smaller and smaller, and I'll end up with a structure like this, which is not what we want. But we need to make a disc, so we have to be careful and precise with our movements, making sure to stop at the right moment. Remember, the goal is to create a disc shape, not a yurt, so pay close attention to the form as you work. I stop at the precise moment when I have a shape that resembles a yurt. Once again, I gently push over there, and now, as you can see, the yurt has appeared in front of me. This particular height of the disc is just right and suits me perfectly. All I need to do now is to carefully fold down the roof of this yurt, making it completely flat and even. This step is important to ensure the final shape is exactly as I want it. To do this, I stop pushing away from myself and press only from top to bottom. This same point stays here, my fingers hold the clay here, and my other hand helps. And look, I press from top to bottom and the shape of the disc changes, the roof folds down. Centering is done. Bulldozer. I help with my other hand, but the main work is done by my left hand. We push the clay out, move higher, and do the ketchup move. We squeeze this clay and push it upward. Notice that when I do the ketchup move, my hands never go ahead of the clay while pulling up. Look, the clay is always rising above my hands. I move up and the clay is always at the top, and only at the very end do I overtake it. We end up with a cone. The first stage of lowering is the banana. We bent it back, and we wait for the clay to settle down. There's no need to rush. We help with the other hand. We push it away from ourselves in that direction and wait until we get a yurt shape. But here, if I want to raise the cone again, I won't lower the roof, because if I lower the roof, then when I lift it, there's a high chance I'll get a volcano, since the clay at the edges rises faster than the clay in the middle. But if I have a yurt, friends, look. And if I have a yurt shape, then this clay is already higher than the clay at the edge. And when I lift it, I don't get a volcano. That's why we only do the first stage at first. We lower this banana down to the yurt shape and only fold the roof at the very end. We raise the clay up. Push it away from yourself. The right hand on top helps. Keep pushing it there. Yurt, change direction. And now I'm pressing from above. The clay is centered.